And hello everyone, welcome to this edition of Nowhere Videos Meat and Potatoes, the program that shows you easy recipes for great food. My name is Todd Hilton. Behind the camera is Mr. Mark Johnson, and we're joining you here for a brand new season. This will be the first edition of our second season. And before we go any farther, I want to thank everyone out there who watched our first season. We got some fantastic reviews from folks watching, and people are really enjoying the show. This is actually a first for Nowhere Video. This is the most largely played show that we've ever had. We're covering several different TV stations, and the response has been phenomenal. I don't think Mark and I imagined that people would enjoy our show as much as they have. In many cases, this has been the only cooking show to be featured on the station. And Mark and I have had a lot of fun with it, and folks have told us we got to do a second season. You got to get back in the kitchen. So here we are. We're starting over. We're on a 100% new season. We're going to keep the format relatively the same. One big change: we do have a new cast member, actually someone who joined us as a guest cook from our first season. Mr. Mike Gibson, he's actually going to be joining us as a regular for our second season. And we'll also have a couple other guest cooks to feature. And it's going to be fun. We're going to have an exciting season to share with you. Some great new recipes. And we're happy to get started. So with that said, we're going to kick off our first new edition of Meat and Potatoes with a recipe that I actually got off the internet. And I've modified it actually quite a bit from what it was online there. I've made this recipe one other time, and turned out pretty good. And I think this version is going to be even better. This is a recipe that I actually call meatballs and clouds. Sounds kind of funny. You'll understand when you see what the dish looks like and what it takes to go into it. So. Got my ingredients ready to go, and we're going to get started. All right, we're ready to begin this little concoction here. The first thing you're going to need a couple of bowls, a couple of small bowls or cereal bowls, whatever you have you there. And we're going to use our first ingredient. You're going to need 3 eggs. I'm actually going to attempt something here that I've only seen done. I've never actually done it myself, so I'm going to make an attempt here. Because we need to actually separate the egg. We need to separate the white and the yolk. And we actually end up using both the white and the yolk in separate parts of the recipe. Okay. I think that is as good as I'm going to be able to get that. Okay. So now we have 1 bowl of yolk, 1 bowl of white. All right. First, you're going to take your yolk. That's the first part you're going to actually do something with. Now that you've separated your eggs, take a wire whisk. You can probably use a fork. I think a whisk works a little better. And basically, you're going to whisk this until it turns light yellow. All right. Okay, so yolks are going to go in there. It's actually a lot of ingredients for this thing. You don't use a whole lot of each one of them, but there's just a lot of them. They all come together to actually make your meatballs. So, okay, now you actually take your ground beef, and I have approximately 1 pound of lean ground beef, and this is gonna actually go right into our egg, and we've got several more ingredients to mix into this. It's going to kind of resemble a meatloaf. If you've ever made meatloaf, it has a lot of ingredients, a lot of similar ingredients. We're going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, measurements vary depending on your own personal taste. Salt, probably not something you want to use a heck of a lot of. Now this is just 1 teaspoon in a dish that's, you know, going to take up most of this bowl. So now we're going to put in your pepper, and I believe it's the actually the same. Yeah, exactly the same. Okay. Call that good. You know, folks, this is the first episode that Mark and I have done for a while, so I'm a little rusty. I mean, I do cooking all the time, but it's a little different doing it in front of the camera. So bear with me. Okay, next, gonna put in some parsley. Parsley is one of those ingredients that it doesn't really have a lot of flavor. This is actually dried parsley flakes. You can use fresh if you like. Again, parsley doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, but mainly what this is for is color. It looks nice in the completed dish. You're going to use 1 tablespoon or thereabouts. Just going to sprinkle some of that in there. Now luckily the parsley, when you take the lid off of that, it's wide open. You don't have to worry about doing a little bit at a time there. Okay. And again, you know, parsley, you know, you're really not going to like overdo it with parsley. I love garlic powder. It's great flavor. I'm going to put about the same amount, maybe half a tablespoon of that in there. Of course, I'm pouring a little bit over the sides, but okay. I would call that about half a tablespoon. We are just about ready to start mixing our ingredients. Got one last one to go. Of course, any good meatballs, you got to have some onions. These are actually fall onions, so they're a little larger than your average green onion. And we're going to chop those up. Chop off the little hairdo there. Alright. Get the usable part of the onions. Okay, I'm just going to chop these up into some small pieces here. I am not a master chopper. I am not West Coast Choppers. Esteemed cameraman and co-producer thinks that these are probably good to go. Well, and the thing is too, you know, since onions are layered, you know, they'll fall apart into little rings anyway too. So once they start getting mixed up, and those are small onion rings. It'll be pretty hard to batter dip those. So now that we have those, we're gonna just take our bowl here and slide them on in. Okay. As I said earlier, this is the first time that I've made this variation of this dish. And hopefully it turns out good. This can actually be served as a main dish or side dish, depending on how you make it. Okay, those look good there. These ingredients don't have to go in any particular order. Basically, the majority of your ingredients are going to end up in your mixing bowl here. We've got a few more things to add to our seasoning. Some everyday items. We're going to add just a little bit of each one of these. Just take some regular ketchup, and we're going to do a teaspoon of that, or just squirt it on in there. Okay, so a tablespoon of ketchup. Same for the mustard. You want a 1 tablespoon of mustard. There it goes in there. All right. All these ingredients will give the meatballs a little bit of a tang, a little bit of flavor. So we got the mustard in there. Okay. Another ingredient to give it a little tang instead of putting the orange juice in there. You know, that just wouldn't. Yeah. We're gonna use Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. Worcestershire. That's a funny word. You know, isn't that a mansion in California? The Worcestershire Mystery. I don't know. Anyway, we're also going to use a teaspoon of that. This is another thing that my wife and I use on beef dishes a lot of times, Worcestershire sauce. And again, these are ingredients you add to your own personal taste. What we're making here looks really gross right now, but this is all going to get mixed up, so you won't even know the difference. A couple more things to go here. I'm going to take some breadcrumbs. These are Progresso Italian-style breadcrumbs. You can use regular, unleaded, whatever you prefer. No, Progresso. Don't they do like car insurance or something? Oh no, that's Progressive. Never mind. Okay, quarter cup. I realize this is for liquid, but how much different could they be? You use what you got, you know. Quarter cup. Now, basically, what you're using this for is filler. These are going to make your ground beef go farther. You're going to get more out of it. Okay, again, those go in there. And we also have one other item we're going to use for filler. No, we're not going to use the entire bag. I'm only going to use another quarter cup. In fact, I'm going to guess on this one. I feel like Indiana Jones. Okay. That's about right. Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying. It's like, yeah. Okay. We have fun here, folks. Next phase is to go ahead and mix this up. Now, this is going to be a real serious mess, like it looks already. But just go ahead and get in there. And I used to watch my mom make meatloaf, and I always thought it was disgusting. And I'm actually a person that doesn't like getting their hands dirty. And here I am, well, for lack of a better term, I'm playing with my food. So all this stuff gets mixed in. Actually smells pretty good. And hopefully it'll taste a lot better than it looks. This is going to be your meatballs. Now there's now the other part of it that I was mentioning earlier is the clouds. What I call clouds. I've never, before I made this recipe, I had never seen anything like it. Now we're going to make our clouds. This is a little interesting, as I said before. This is not something you typically see in a meat dish. Not that I've ever seen. We're going to take our egg whites, or mostly egg whites. That's sorry, folks, that's the best I could do. Best way to do this is in an electric mixer. You could do it by hand, I suppose, but it's you'd be awfully sore by the time you were done. We're going to start out slow. Hopefully you can hear my voice over the top of the mixer here. And basically just gradually keep increasing the speed. The egg whites will turn into something totally different. All right. And off we go. Okay. We have us what looks like meringue. Actually kind of looks like Cool Whip. That kind of consistency. Little note here. We had to actually redo the eggs. I had a little bit of yolk in there, and I guess it doesn't do what we need it to do unless it's nothing but egg whites, nothing else, not even a little bit of yolk. So, just a little helpful tip there. Okay, so now that we have that, we've got our, you could call it, these are our clouds. This is actually going to get mixed in with the meat, with our meatballs. So now our foam, actually our clouds here. This is going to get mixed in. It's a very weird stuff. I mean, you'd never believe that this stuff came from eggs. But again, yeah, if you were to add sugar to this, you can make yourself pie. Pie? It's amazing that all that comes from 3 egg whites. I know it looks like a lot, but it will actually mix in with the meat. I'm just going to slowly start mixing this in. Boy, I almost need a bigger bowl, don't I? Again, this will work its way into. Now, I've decided to call this recipe Meatballs and Clouds for 2 reasons. One of them you're seeing right now. The second one is what we're going to be serving this with. We're actually going to serve the meatballs over rice, and then even to go on top of that, taking it one step further, I'm going to make a nice little sauce we're going to put over the top of the meatballs. So it's going to be a complete meal. Okay. I think we are ready for the next step. Moving on, we're going to prepare what the meatballs are going to go onto, which is just some regular instant rice. Okay. We're going to do actually 2 cups of rice. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of butter. Voila. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Okay. Okay, we're actually going to turn that up on high because we're going to put 2 cups of water in there. Okay, so 2 cups of water. We got our butter in there. Our butter is going to keep our rice from sticking together. While we're waiting for our water to boil, it's kind of like watching paint dry. We're gonna get the meatballs started. Since the mixture is ready to go, I have here a ceramic baking dish here, and just to be on the safe side, I'm going to spray this down, a little bit of non-stick cooking spray, butter flavored. Okay, yeah, this is a hands-on thing here, by the way. Okay, I'm going to make my my meatballs about well, meatball size, I guess. I suppose if you were to put it into a size, these are probably 2-inch. Had to interrupt myself in the middle of making my meatballs, and because my water's boiling for my rice. And again, I've made 2 cups. This is kind of in proportion to the amount of servings that you're getting, which I believe is 4. Okay, that's actually all it takes. We're going to turn the heat off. In fact, we're going to pull that off the heat. Don't want it to scorch on the bottom. We're going to set that aside. We actually want to cover that and let it sit. All right, we have a completed dish of meatballs. Well, -1. I guess that's 1 meatball shy of a meal. Sorry. Okay, we're going to preheat the oven. The last time I made these, we actually fried them, but they ended up kind of greasy because you fry them in oil. I mean, not even butter or anything when you fry them. So we're going to try baking them. In fact, a lot of the recipes that I've looked at for meatballs actually tell you to put them in the oven and bake them. So that's what we're going to do. Turn that to bake. We're going to put this on 375. This is the part that is completely experimental. We didn't do anything like this the last time. I've got a can of Campbell's cheddar cheese soup, and which is nice because they got the pop top on them. And so we're going to take that, open that. That's the first. That's more or less the base for our sauce. We're going to turn that on kind of a medium-low heat. Again, that's the base for our sauce. I am going to go ahead and throw in a little bit of moo juice. Not a whole lot, just enough to be able to mix it with. So that's a good consistency right there. That's a good sauce consistency. A little thick. we are going to thin that up just a hair. Okay, with our next two ingredients. This is the part that's totally experimental, and I really hope it tastes good. We're going to throw in some au jus.
Bless you.
Thank you. Okay. We throw in our au jus, which normally is used for French dip sandwiches, which I love. We're going to add this. Also mix that in. That looks a lot like chocolate. That is au jus and not chocolate powder, isn't it?
Because jus is French for chocolate, but I'm not sure.
Right, French for chocolate. Now, of course, that gives it a whole different look there. There's one more ingredient we're going to add to this sauce. We're going to put in, again, I'm going to guesstimate here, probably, geez, maybe another third to a quarter of a cup here. We're just going to put probably a couple of dollops in here. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to stir that in. Yeah, this is the experimental part, and even though it looks like chocolate, I swear it's not. All right, our oven's actually ready to accept the meatballs, so we're going to go ahead and put those in. You're going to want to have these in here between 20 and 30 minutes. You may want to check on them periodically, every 2 to 5 minutes. Dun, 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 dun. We have our meatballs, meaty balls. Okay, now there is some grease runoff from that, but we will be individually plucking each one of the meatballs out of its dish there, and I'll put together a little presentation dish for you. We're going to get some rice. This is going to be our base. Just something to put the meatballs on. This is just regular instant white rice. Nice and fluffy there. The butter kept it separated. Okay. We're going to grab a couple of meatballs here. We checked one of the meatballs earlier to make sure that it was cooked all the way through. Just going to grab a couple of these here, maybe 3 of them. All right. Just kind of nestle them down in there, make little pockets there. Drizzle our sauce over the top of our meaty balls. Okay. All right, folks. So there we have it. Meatballs and clouds. As I said before, there was 2 reasons why I call it clouds. One, because one goes into it. The other one, it sits on. All right, folks, that's going to do it for our first new edition of Nowhere Videos Meat and Potatoes. And I hope you enjoyed our first new recipe of the season, our second season. Recipe I call Meatballs and Clouds. Again, I think it's a very versatile recipe. Use whatever kind of seasonings, garnishes you want to use. You could put it over noodles. You could serve it with like a vegetable soup. Probably have corn with it, side salad, any number of things. As far as the meat, you don't have to use hamburger. You could probably use like ground sausage or Italian sausage. You could use ground turkey, whatever. It's a versatile recipe. You could use just about any kind of meat that you that you happen to have that you can make into meatballs. And again, the sauce, come up with your own sauce. Use gravy. So you could probably use even turkey gravy or whatever you want. If you're using ground turkey, then use turkey gravy. But this is my variation of it, and as I said, hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. So all in all, despite the little problems we had along the way, I think it turned out pretty good. So that's going to do it for this edition. Once again, I want to thank everyone out there for watching. Hope you're enjoying this. Also, be aware, we are online, just as we have been through the entire first season. You can check out all of our delicious recipes on our website. You can find that at nowherevideo.tripod.com. And check out our recipes on there. Also find out more information about the other shows that we do. We do all kinds of fun stuff here at Nowhere Video, and we enjoy bringing it to you. So, with that, for Mark Johnson behind the camera, I'm Todd Hilton, and we'll see you next time. Good taters, good meat, good grief, let's eat. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.